replicate it. I like redundancy, so I am doing both, guys. And good morning and welcome back to yet another Mindset Mastermind, where we get our daily dose of motivation, inspiration, a whole lot of information on how to run our businesses right so we can jump out of this room and get to activity and, gosh darn it, make some perspiration happen. So love y'all. Glad you're here. Getting your butts in gear here in 2025. And we're in the meat. We always use written content now to facilitate the conversations. And we are right in the meat of Ninja Selling. Chapters 35 through 37 is today's conversation. Couple of housekeeping tips. If your microphone's on, that tells me you wish to speak up. So if you showed up and didn't turn your mic off, well, gosh darn it, you might want to pay attention to that. That being said, it's your room, not mine. It's about me just facilitating the conversations. So I'm jumping on my list of hot mics.
What is it, Jim?
Tom, what do you got, brother?
Well, the beginning of the book, it says you need to say this every day. So I read it this morning, and I just want to read the one paragraph. We are all ordinary, but a master, rather than condemning himself or for his ordinariness, will embrace it and use it as a foundation for building the extraordinary. Rather than using it as an excuse for inactivity, he will use it as a vehicle for correcting, which is essential in the process of attaining mastery. You must be able to correct yourself without invalidating or condemning yourself, to accept results and improve upon them. Correct, don't protect. So let's lean in and see what we can fix.
I love it. And by the way, do you know how someone is an absolute master and committed to mastery?
Oh,
They'll never admit to it because they're always on the journey. There's always room for improvement. All right. So just keep that in mind when you say, like, it's one of my affirmations. I am a master recruiter. That just means every day I'm committed to getting better and better and better. Thank you for anchoring us, Tom, back to our original content. And let's get to David. David, new in the room, my friend. Great to have you. What do you have to share?
Are you talking to me?
David sent us.
David.
I got Matthew
Yes,
Davidson. I
hang
love
on.
that too. I'm starting David sent us first, and then Matthew, I'm going to bounce to you.
Hang on. Can you hear me? No.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm loving the classes. A little bit early for us out here in the West Coast in Edmonton, Alberta. Currently minus 29 degrees with a wind chill factor of minus 40 Celsius. I'm really enjoying the classes, getting a lot of it. Thank you, Tom. I saw that. It's too hot here. Yes. Uh, I'm really actually enjoying the classes. I'm really getting a lot out of the book. I am a broker for my firm, and this is just wonderful. I've invited a few of my agents to join us, and they're getting
Excellent.
so much out of it. And it's amazing. Like the mindset about having just a conversation is just mind blowing, and I try to instill that to all of my agents, even if they're listening, the older agents that are set in their ways and such. But I mean, I have to admit though, I'm not up to chapter 39, but I am really getting into this book. And thank you very much, Coach Dustin, with his mentorship and everything else. I've been reading Atomic Behavior, Compound Effects,
Yeah.
just a whole bunch of stuff that, I mean, in the business for 20 years, and this is just, I wish I would have met you guys 20 years ago.
Well,
Just a completely
I
different
am
animal.
so glad you're here. And for you and everybody else, David, the folks in your organization, etc., even if it's an early nugget, something else that you reflected, I'm okay. You guys bring it in the room, just like Tom did. He took us back to page 1 to re-anchor that we are on this journey together, this journey to mastery. And by the way, this is the second time, guys. We did this same content last January. A lot of the same faces in here, working the same work and learning again, picking out new nuggets that are going to change the trajectory of our business and our life. Matthew, you're up, brother.
All right, so this is my first time on here. I've only read chapter 34 through 37.
Nice.
So I just found out yesterday.
Well,
So
you're right in the meat of it. What'd you take away from those?
I really enjoyed the basically pulling the information out of them, putting them in a like pretend state and getting that information out of them as opposed to trying to sell them on something. I sell stairs for a living, and I can sell you a $2,000 stair, or I can sell you a $2 million stair. And getting what they want at the price point they want is like what I'm trying to do. Um, I've got a lot of things going on, but that's my main one. So I thought the putting them in the pretend state with the magic wand and that analogy really like put that in perspective for me.
And here's the fun part with this. You can do this with everyone in
Yeah.
any situation. From the content, you're helping them become clear. And the best way to do it is through the use of pretend states. Just for fun, if you could wave a magic wand and have this room this year transform your life, what would life look like December 31st of 2025? It's one of my magic wand questions for all of you guys because I plan on that happening. You guys are leaning in and doing it. So, by the way, I'd love that feedback. What would this room need to be like to get you there? We all have blind spots, and the magic wand question will get them out of their blind spots and give you information to get you out of yours. Client, I saw you come in with a hot mic. You ready to go, my friend?
No, you caught me by mistake here, but you know what? Just talking about everything. Um, yeah, we did this last year, and we're doing it this year. And we're probably going to do it for another 5 years because you know what? There is so much meat on this bone. It's crazy. And you know what I was listening to this morning, I haven't got all the way up to where we are, but um, just going through those steps where it's talking about listening and understanding the customer. I remember you beat me over the head a few weeks ago when I was talking to someone and I made the mistake of sending Russ the recording of my call.
Mm.
And I was clearly talking more than I was listening. He beat me up a little bit. But I changed from that. And I had another conversation the other day, and it was hard for me to keep my mouth closed. But you know what? The person decided that in about a month, they're going to list with me.
Mm-hmm.
Keeping one's mouth closed a little bit so we can listen is golden in regards to what this material is teaching me.
One of my favorite sentences from the content as a coach, because we're all doing the traditional 3-step process. By the way, what's ABC stand for?
Oh,
Always be closing.
Which it isn't. No more. It's action, benefit, commitment, which plays into his 4-step as well. It's digging in, and so many of us are about presenting. And because this traditional 3-step process, always be closing, is so ingrained in all of us in our industry, and here's the quote: "This step is the hardest habit for us to break in ninja selling." That we're going to ask questions, we're going to learn, and we're going to listen rather than talk. And since I saw the request in the chat, ABC, action, benefit, commitment. What are you guys looking? What's their goal? Where do they want to get to? You got to learn about that. And then as you learn about that, you can present solutions, benefits to solve their problems, and then find out which one they want to explore and get the commitment and go take it. Alexandra, you've got a hot mic.
Yay, good morning. I'm gonna go back just a little bit.
Excellent.
Some things that stood out to me, the 15 post-closing contacts. I guess I never really considered the after, the now what. So that whole section was really, really great. Specifically asking the question, are there any surprises or unmet expectations in the house? I love that. I want to take that. Also just getting those fun facts so that you can continue to follow up with value, not just calling to just say, hey, just checking in, but it's, hey, happy anniversary, happy birthday. Don't forget your husband's birthday or your wife's birthday is coming up. So all those things were really great nuggets. Kai time, productive time, indirectly productive time, everything else. That stood out. It was a really great highlight of the everything else I might spend a little too much time on. So I really like breaking that out and kind of sitting down to say, okay, wait, what do you actually do throughout your entire workday, especially on days where I feel like I
Hold that
really
thought, because I'd love to bring that one back in. I really want though everybody to look at these 15
Yeah.
post-closing that you hit first, Alexander. And I just
Yeah.
want to give you guys an example since we're jumping back to that.
What page?
I have no idea, but we'll figure it out.
161,
Here's-
161.
Yeah, here's the key of it, is that we're actually not just about the sale. You guys go out, you go out on a first date. You have an incredible, over the top time, and maybe things go a little farther than you'd like to, yet it was amazing. And then the guy or gal never calls you again. What do you think they were after? Now let's apply that to what you do in real estate, man. You court them into signing a buyer agreement or listing agreement. And then you take them on all these wonderful dates to find the house. And then you love on them through the closing. And then you get your check and you never call again. What message are you sending to them? That's why this is so important, to get past what every other agent does that's all about the money and really be about the relationship, because that is what is going to absolutely transform your financial life. Mark Adams, Mike goes hot after I'm talking about date. What do you got?
So one of the things I do, Russ, when I read something like this, I say to myself, okay, one of the first things he said is think consultation or interview versus making my calls, right? So there's a mind shift right then and there that I'm going to interview. And then the next thing that comes to my mind is like, what am I going to say to them? So he gives us what to say to them. And I would just say this for those of you that are afraid to go into an interview mode, practice with people around you in your sphere of influence. So I practice on the guy making my sandwiches. I practice at the grocery store. I'm always asking them questions. And my wife, she's always like, he's like this. He's going to continue to do this until you look him in the eyes and talk to him. But I'm practicing because I feel like if I can start an interview type process with somebody I don't know, it's going to make it easier to have that interview process with somebody I do know, because it helps me get the flow. Another thing that I would recommend for all of you is the guys to have role play partners, because once you get down a few of those opening questions on a regular basis and you can kind of flow with it and answer questions, it makes it easier, because most of us are fearful that if we say the wrong things to our clients, we're going to lose them or they're going to think we're losers or whatever, because those are some of the fears that we go through. But I would just suggest you practice with your sphere of influence. Like when I'm at church, I'm always asking questions. And my church teaches this at a high level because they're all about community. So I'm always practicing asking these questions. And the funny thing of it is I'm probably the more outgoing person in my relationship with my wife. My wife knows more about my sphere of influence than I do because she's so darn good at asking questions, but she truly is interested. And people feel that when you ask them those questions, and it immediately changes the dynamic between you and them because there's a sense of caring in there. And it really is a good way to, steer the direction into whatever their pain point is. And then our job is how to solve those problems. So my suggestion for implementation is practice with your sphere of influence first, and then you can kind of move over into your database or past clients or whatever.
And I want to anchor the fear, Mark. I actually want you guys to all be scared to death. What he said, if you say the wrong thing, they are not going to want to do business with you. They're not going to like you. In fact, they're going to just tell the whole world how bad a person you are. So how do you avoid saying the wrong thing? Ask questions. Solves the problem. You get into that inquiry, that question. And as is throughout the book that we've kind of seen, this time of possession is how you'll know that you're not saying too much. Who's talking more? So I want to give you a third tool. Mark was putting some tools out there. Get yourself a chess clock. A chess clock is 2 clocks, 2 buttons, and I have the left one scheduled as them. Excuse me, scheduled as me. Because if I'm speaking, I have left money behind. And I have the right button as them, because when I hit the right button, I'm doing the right thing and listening, and they're talking. Have this in your space on call time and test yourself, gamify, and see who's really talking more. And you'll be amazed at what you learn from that. Third option, by the way, that like we get here, some of the recording devices tell us if we're talking too much. Might be helpful to have that going as well. Gary, you are up, my dear.
So I really liked the idea of, and I don't know what chapter it was, but like Mark was talking about, like interviewing instead of having a presentation or consultation and letting them talk. But the one thing I really liked was in the last chapter we read, which was in 37. And the guy wanted to buy commercial property for his business. And Larry was talking to let the other guy talk a lot, and then was able to discern that the CEO guy wasn't going to do anything. But Larry was like, but thinking in his head, like, why? Like, okay. So then he talked about that, and he was able to, he's able to discern and take his attention away to something else that was the deciding factor. You know what I mean? So I really loved how he did that. It always is amazing to me how people are able, like good salespeople, really good salespeople, are able to discern so well, what they really need and how they're actually thinking. I love that. I just want to be
that learning comes from asking questions, right, Carrie?
Yeah.
That
All
whole
the time.
dialogue between Larry and the CEO of the women's clothing company.
Mm-hmm.
Was Larry asking questions and shutting up?
Both.
Awkward silence is actually okay.
Right.
Let it happen in your consultations. Doug, you're up, brother.
Okay. I've lost where it is now because I was looking at what Gary was talking about. But there's a place in here where he talks about understanding whether your person is moving in the vein of wanting to win or if they're moving in the vein of not wanting to lose. And the offensive versus the defensive, the go-getter versus the one that just wants to not lose, so doesn't want to end up with a bad result. So I think understanding how your client thinks, what's motivating them to make these decisions, and how their drive is positioned is really key in understanding how to work with them and how to make them feel like they've done what they wanted to do. So I thought that was it's one of those little things that gives you big results.
And it's this pain and pleasure conversation. Everybody has these two primal motivators at work, the avoidance of pain or the pursuit of pleasure. And by the way, as salespeople, we tend to talk more about all the good things in the pursuit of pleasure. And here's all the benefits. Know that most people make decisions based on the avoidance of pain. In fact, it's like 90% more successful than the pursuit of pleasure. So make sure you're bringing both into your conversations. I mean, something as simple as a buyer interested in a home, and the two conversations, the two questions. Are you interested in writing an offer on this property? Do you want to buy? Or do you want to make sure that you don't lose out on this property? Got to have both sets of questions in your quiver. Tom, your mic is hot again, brother.
It's been,
and
yeah,
Chrissy, I see
I'm a
you as
hottie.
well.
What can I say? When you were talking to client, one of the things you said was something about blind spots, and I desperately went through the book again to find it. There's the video that even in bold back in the day we watched where we're like, okay, count the passes. And had I not seen that with you, I would have called BS on this. But the whole thing is where they're count the pass, count the pass, count the pass, and then how many? 13 passes. Yeah, right. But what did you see the bear that walked through? I want to go back to that, but I can't find it, and I want to know what you teach out of that. I know it's beware of a blind spot, but bring it.
Well,
Thanks.
and it's also what you focus on expands.
Right.
Where your focus goes, energy flows. And the key component of that actually is to be focusing on what really is the important component. So you've got two teams, 5 players each, some in white, some in black. And the question is, watch this 30-second video, count the passes from the white team. And by the way, the answer I believe is 14. In fact, I know it's 14. There's 14 passes. And everybody watches that and they 14. Great. Did you see the guy in the bear costume come in and dance? And nobody ever does. Because you're so focused on this. So when you watch it a second time and now you're looking for that, wow, it comes right in, you do it. And the key on that, Tom, is we got to be focusing all our time on the dancing bear. The dancing bear is building relationships, finding new relationships, being in conversations, being in interviews. That's how you make money in this business.
Focusing on the I and the P, focusing on the I to get more P and less E.
Yeah. And
So,
I'm optimistic in this space. Client hold, because I want to go to Christy first. I'm optimistic in this space that you guys are doing more of that every single week and starting to see the results. And if you don't, call me. We'll talk about it. Christy.
Okay, so on the part where, it tells you to be a ninja, ask, pull, probe, consult, and so on,
Yes, ma'am.
it all made me think about how I talk to people on a regular. And I tend to go that way with my conversations. However, I realized I don't like one-uppers. When you tell them something, they have to tell you something too. Like, my dog did that. And I'm like, oh, well, my dog did this. I always realized that I didn't like one-uppers. It always annoyed me. But then when I went back to listen to how, in my head, how I'm talking to people, I do the same thing. So I pull the information, I ask and all this stuff, and I get all the information, but I always have something to say back. So it made me realize I really need to, I'm doing the conversation right. However, I need to stop and just shut up because they don't care about what my dog did or this did or that did. So it made me really break down that part.
I want to give you guys 2 pieces on this. Number 1, the best thing to do when they tell you about something is give them back a piece of their story. So
Okay.
you're asking questions. Well, here's all the things my dog did, blah, 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 blah. Man, so your dog did this and this. How cool is that? And then go on to your next question. You never make it about you. And number 2, and I want you guys to write this down because it's a great blind spot illuminator. You cannot see in someone else what you don't possess in yourself. You cannot see in someone else what you don't possess in yourself. So if you continue to see people being negative and nasty and cranky, maybe, just maybe, that's how you're showing up. In fact, the second half of that, the universe doesn't give you what you want. The universe gives you who you are.
Yep.
Oh,
Second
wow.
piece to that same thing. So, Colleen, I see your mic is hot.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, where he talks about take control of the process and then let them make the decision, but giving the client the permission. I love the psychology, giving them the permission to make the decision, because a lot of times I think that could be the block. So I love that. That's it.
Excellent. Well, I love that. We are empowering them, aren't we?
Yes.
If we do this right, they are in charge. All right, let's see who else is ready to go in the space, man. I got people still jumping in here. Crazy time. Carrie, did you have something else you wanted to add?
Yeah, I was
Go
gonna
for
say, I liked the idea of pull, not push. I've never heard that before, and that really resonated with me.
So let's go into those. because these are the approaches, and you guys have heard me in this room talk about leading. That's really what pull, not push is. Okay. Ask, don't tell. We've talked about that today.
If you think about that pull, not push, think about if you're in line or something and you try to push somebody out of the way, it's easy for them to go this way or go that way. But when you're, let's say, you've got a rope around them and you pull them, they have to go with you. That's just a great visual.
I
Yeah.
might use
I agree.
herd animals instead of human beings for the example, Tom, but yeah, I totally agree
To
with
each his own.
you. Now, probe, don't pitch. How many times are we told to work on our pitch and present? No. Consult, don't present. Same thing. Solve, don't sell. Serve, don't sell. You focus on those pieces, page 194, 195, magic happens. Mr. Camacho, welcome to the room. What do you got, my friend?
This whole push pull thing, it made me think of the story. The wind and the sun are having a conversation, and there is a person on the earth, and the conversation is the wind's telling the sun, I bet I can blow his jacket off faster than you can. The sun says, no, I bet I can get him to take his jacket off a lot faster. And so there was this little competition. So the wind starts blowing and blowing and blowing. And what does the man do to his jacket? He grabs it on tighter and holds on tight. That's the push. And then the wind gets really, really tired. And then the sun says, okay, it's my turn. And what does the sun do? It just comes out. He just comes out in all his glories, warms up the man softly, and the man gently takes his coat off. And this whole push-pull thing is like sometimes we're just pushing and telling and selling, guilty right here. And this is a great reminder and a different way of looking at it. I love this.
So, guys, today, be the sunshine for your clients, be the sunshine for the other agents, be that ray of hope, of joy, of love, of all the things we're learning through this content and what we're learning together, and watch the magic happen. So, it is right at the bottom of the hour. We do our 30 minutes. Tomorrow, consume another 15 pages or so, and we will absolutely talk about it. Guys, you still have my cell phone number. If you don't, you should. I'm going to throw it in the chat for you, just so everybody's got it. And I am here to help. Anything, anytime, call, text. I am not any other lanes of conversation. That's the best way to get me. And let's make 2025 the absolute best it can be for each and every one of you. Love you. Glad you're here, and look forward to seeing you tomorrow at the latest. Bye.